I'm Dr. Jeff Foster, NHS and private GP specialising in men's health, and this is Man Alive, the ultimate podcast for men. As usual on Man Alive, we have an iconic guest in the studio. You may have seen him on Mock the Week, Russell Howard's Good News, the Russell Howard Hour, and more. I wonder who it could be. He's with us to discuss his blood test results, his new tour, and the health habits of a touring comedian. It's the legendary Russell Howard. Russell, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
In honour of your brilliant podcast, 5 Brilliant Things.
Oh, right.
The premise of this is 5 brilliant healthy things that we're going to do now.
Okay.
You can see the smooth link there.
I like that, yeah.
So, 5 brilliant things I'd like you to tell me about that you do at home or with your family or maybe when you're on tour. Things that maybe you wouldn't have done when you're 20.
Oh, okay. So I kind of fast. And I don't eat until 12 and then kind of try and have my final meal at 5. And I've done loads of research about that, of how good that is. The non-scientific way that I understood it is that it gives your body time to deal with other problems instead of having to digest all the time. So I thought it was quite cool. Number 2, whenever we get a hotel on tour, we try and get one with a sauna or ideally a cold plunge as well. So you can do a bit of like hot and cold exposure. That's good.
You like that?
Love it. Absolutely love it. My penis is not a fan. And it's hilarious. And no one ever speaks about that. It's hilarious.
I bet.
But
yeah.
But it just, it used to hang and now it just points. But you know, it comes back to life throughout the tour, so it's fine. That sounds horrific.
That's not what we want.
You know what I mean? But so that's good fun. And I've got my tour manager, Kumar, and my support act, Birdie, into that as well. One of the best things, actually, Kumar jumped into a jacuzzi only to discover it was a cold plunge, which was one of the great sights. The other thing we do is I try and eat at 5 so that if the show's at 7:30 and then I go on at 8:30, the food is digested and then I don't feel that desire to kind of go out and get a curry at night,
right.
Which that was... When you first become a comic, you kind of, you're kind of driving home and you're eating like pasties and, crisps and all this kind of shit. And you realize suddenly everyone puts on weight because you're kind of eating up until 12 o'clock at night. So I've stopped doing that. And number 4, I try and go for we call it a constitutional. So once we've had our breakfast, we go for a kind of a stroll for about an hour around the town or the city, and you kind of pick up little things. It's a nice way of grab a coffee, take in a place, and it's amazing what you can see that will then link back to the show. So I remember we were doing a show in Amsterdam, and there was a sign for it. It was a luxury bondage shop. And I remember saying at the gig that night, surely call it Pimp My Gimp. If you're doing it, do it properly. And it's sort of, do you know what I mean? You can see little shops or notice things. And so it's great for the gig, but it's also great to have a little walk. And number 5, blueberries before you go on stage, apparently, are very good. For what I read something that they help your brain think.
Wow.
So,
God, you really have thought about this. I was expecting much more trivial stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird with all shit like this, but it drives my wife crazy because she's a doctor. So I'll kind of show her something that I've bought and I'll say, oh, look, it does this. And she's like, that looks like a brass eye video. I bought I had a wellness necklace. Yeah, exactly. Correct response. That's exactly what my wife did. And you were meant to wear this necklace. And if you pressed the button, it gave your body the same vibrational energy as if you'd just eaten chocolate. So, and it cost me £1,000.
It sounds so dismissive.
It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? But
wow.
But you could set it to cannabis, wine, or chocolate. And it was like the idea that you didn't need to have a beer. So you go down the pub with your fucking necklace on and go, oh, do you want a pint? Nah, I'm cool. And I'm just going to vibrate myself pissed. And I sort of remember putting it on and I've never used a fleshlight, That's the closest
That's
I've
an
got.
actual link.
But I would imagine when you put your cock in a flower, it's that instant regret. And it's, as I felt putting the necklace on, I was like, God, good God, what have I done with my life?
Was it
Sadness.
really big and chunky?
No, it was like a chunky plastic thing. It was fucking dreadful. And it cost me £1,000. So I'm susceptible to bullshit.
And yet I'm surprised you're still married.
Yep.
I think that it's a testament to her, what she's willing to put up with.
I just think she finds it funny. It's just the kind of naivety of like, you know, you laugh when a dog brings home a stick it can't carry. It's probably a similar thing. She looks at me and goes, look at that idiot. With his tree trunk in his mouth.
I remember we interviewed Russell Kane. He was saying that he'd burn up like X thousands of calories whilst on stage because it is such a fast adrenaline hit and everything.
Yeah.
And to not eat after, significantly eat, I mean, must be really tough.
Yeah, but if you've eaten loads before, it's kind of great because you've got all that fuel and you kind of... I don't move as much as I used to. I think I used to move loads when I was younger because I was a lot more nervous. And you gradually become stiller and you realise moving with purpose is so much better than just being... Because it's particularly if you're kind of doing arenas or you're doing bigger rooms, you feel like you need to fill the space. But the older you get, you realise actually, if you're kind of stiller and let the words create images in people's brains, you don't have to kind of blitz around everywhere. I remember seeing Billy Connolly. It was incredible that he, it was after he'd got Parkinson's and he was always a very powerful mover on stage. And because of Parkinson's, he was dead still. And it was still incredible. And it sort of set something off. I was like, hey, you don't need to hair about.
Yeah, that's a good show. Right, I've just been told that a whopping 97% of our viewers aren't subscribed to the show. If you are happy to, please press subscribe as it really helps us to grow Man Alive and it supports men's health even more. So thanks so much for your help. So do you think having your wife as a doctor has helped you be healthier or just mocks you for the stuff that you bring home?
I think she's very useful. I think, she's wonderful and I love her. But I think if it wasn't for her, I mean, I feel there's a lot. God knows what I'd be doing. I'd be doing some, I'd have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, all this kind of stuff. Like, I have clearly, I've got much better with it, but I had a real fear of death. So I was kind of doing anything to kind of, put it off. And sometimes it's just nonsense.
Talking of health then, should we have a look at your blood test results?
Yes.
What were you nervous about getting your blood test results, or what was your impetus for wanting to get them done?
I really like data, and like I've got a Fitbit. I find it really fascinating how you can see. So I haven't drunk since December the 31st because I drank loads last year, and particularly December. You know when you have like a really boozy month or a boozy year, or whatever. I was kind of going, God, I'm drinking loads. I wonder if I could just stop. And then I did a month. I was like, okay, I wonder if I could just push it on. And it's really fascinating because I'm sleeping so much better, which is great given that I have to spend a lot of it on a mattress next to my son. So little things like that, I kind of, like my heartbeat has got lower. And you go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's to do with booze. And I feel less kind of foggy in the morning. And you have, if you go for a run, you can sort of see the effort it takes. And so that's kind of why I did it. I thought it'd be interesting. And if there's something bad, then I would like to fix it.
I think a lot of men that come on, and just men in general, like data.
Right.
That's why you do the watch, isn't it? Because you like to see what your numbers are.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys, even if they're healthy, they want to know, what is my full blood count? What is my SIRA or whatever? Yeah. And then you've got those numbers in your head. I think that's quite nice.
But I also think as well, like having kind of dabbled in this sort of world, that it's really hard to know what's true and to believe, you can go down so many different routes, and the Instagram will kind of go, right, you should be a carnivore, right, you should be a vegan, you should do all these things. I think if you, like you say, if you have data, you can then start dabbling and then see what works against your body. But also I like meeting experts and having people say, oh, this means that, with a degree of certainty, rather than somebody who's got a studio in LA and they look confident. Do you know what I mean? But I'm so susceptible to that shit. So it's quite nice to meet someone who actually hopefully knows what they're talking about.
And I don't look that confident. So it's fine.
Okay.
So your core health is good.
Right.
And I think the main thing to take away from this is that there's nothing excessively bad in your numbers. If there were, we wouldn't be having this discussion now.
Okay.
But your full blood count's good. You're not anemic. Your immune system's normal. Your clotting's okay. We do a measure thing called CRP. We do this with everybody. And CRP is called C-reactive protein. And the good thing about the test is it just measures inflammatory processes. It doesn't tell you what it is. But if something bad's going on, that number goes up. So, I don't know, cough or cold, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Chest infection, 30.
Yeah.
Break your arm, 70. Heart attack, 300. You know, it just gets worse. And yours is 0.2. So virtually unmeasurable.
Oh, right.
Which is a really nice indicator. Again, bad stuff can still happen, but on the cumulative data side of things, it's a good indicator that you're pretty healthy. So it's kind of a good thing.
Nice.
There's also a link between men who have a mildly raised CRP and cardiovascular disease. So maybe it's 6 or 7, but it's not going to relate to, but that in itself can be linked to cardiovascular disease in men. So the fact yours is so low, it's a good start. It's a good start.
Nice.
Kidneys normal, liver's normal, your thyroid's healthy, calcium levels normal, protein levels are all good, iron levels are good. You've got no marks of diabetes. And your blood sugar average, which is an HbA1c, is really low at 36. Anything less than 48 is not diabetic. Anything less than 42 is not even pre-diabetes.
Cool.
So at 36, it suggests, your fasting diet, or at least your ability to produce insulin is really good. You can smash a packet of Haribo, it won't matter.
Oh, really?
It's good.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's good news then. Not everything is always good news, and it's nice to, maybe your shirt should have
Nice link. Nice link.
there, yeah. Your cholesterol levels.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
Are you known to have high cholesterol?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So your total cholesterol came back at 7.6.
I'm on statins now.
And you still have a level of 7.6?
No. I've literally just started them.
When?
Last Thursday.
So this was done just before
done
you
before.
started?
Yeah, because randomly I had another doctor's appointment, and they said, "Oh, we haven't done a blood test for a while." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." And I knew I had high cholesterol before. And it's always like complicated because apparently my good cholesterol is high, but my bad cholesterol is also high.
Yeah.
And he sort of said, you're kicking it down the can really. So you may as well. And I had, that scan to see whether I had like clogged up arteries, and I don't. And he was like, "Oh, you may as well take him." But it feels so, I sort of did a load of research to go, okay, what do you do if you've got high cholesterol? And it's like, walk and don't smoke, and like all these things that I kind of just do very normally. So it must be genetic, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the biggest cause of death in men is still heart disease.
Right.
No matter if you control for all other risk factors, we still die of heart disease more than anything else.
Yeah, well, my dad's mum died of a heart attack as well. So I think that's why and my dad's got high cholesterol as well. So I think that's why my doctor was like, you should probably take statins. But it feels like, because I feel relatively healthy, it's just an odd thing to go, I take statins like an old man. Do you know what I mean? It just feels a bit like,
Does it feel like you failed if you're having to take the statin though?
No,
like you
because
couldn't fix it.
But it just seems odd to not listen to wisdom. So I like to kind of go, look, you can do all those other things. Because I also read a thing that apparently if you drink a lot of coffee, which I do, that there's 2 oils in coffee that apparently can have an impact on your cholesterol. And my doctor went, "Nah, it's not that." Like,
No.
but I'm up for those little tweaks. But
Yeah.
if you need, it just seems silly to kind of. I've got a 2-year-old son. I don't want to kind of just be pig-headed and sort of say, "No, I won't do that," because it's like an ego thing. Like my dad's deaf, and they gave him hearing aids because he needs hearing aids because he's deaf. But he doesn't wear them because he doesn't want to look like an old man, and he doesn't want people to take the piss out of him. It's like, you can't fucking hear what they're saying. So just wear the hearing aids. So I've never really understood why you wouldn't listen to an expert who says probably take statins. So I don't feel like a failure. It just makes me laugh that it just feels like like my mate Steve got gout when he was 35, and it was, again, similar thing. You're like, it was just really funny.
It is.
Because you're like, mate, how the fuck have you got?
Yeah, it's too much port and...
Well, that's it. It was just, you've got Henry VIII disease. So yeah, I'm kind of fine with it.
Oh, so on coffee, coffee's freaking awesome for you.
Are all coffees equal?
That's a different discussion. I guess if it's like freeze-dried tinned stuff, it's probably not as good.
Yeah.
But I haven't delved down into which coffee bean is going to be the best. But generally, there are some really good trials out there that show that drinking coffee at the right time of day, the right amounts, I think like 20, and you can't substitute Monster for it. It has to be coffee.
Yeah.
Then it's got significant health benefits, metabolic and neuro. My dad's 82, 81 now, and he's still working full time in like psychophysics and neuroscience stuff. And he keeps sending me these papers going, so he told you coffee was good. Told you coffee was good, so like having an espresso at 8 p.m, but it seems that this stuff really does work. But that's a bit of a side trip.
Yeah. But I love all that, like it's kind of I remember reading a load of stuff about psychedelics and the role that I think it was psilocybin, and I think there's some stuff on ketamine in terms of it getting rid of or helping with PTSD. So even like I really love, maybe that's why I'm doing this podcast. I'm really drawn to kind of the edges of knowledge where, we had a guy on my show and he was saying that there was a supplement called spermidine that was a really good longevity thing. So all stuff like that, I kind of find it really, but it's so difficult to believe everybody, or because there'll be another study or there'll be another person, I'm sure, that would say, well, if you have
always
6 cups of coffee, it does this, and that's the problem, I think, in this whole kind of world. What do you believe?
Because even if you're the most diligent publication research reader, they still, papers just contradict each other. I think, so you get a lot of this with statins, and a lot of patients are like, well, I've read they're bad for you, or don't really need them.
Yeah.
But you're right. The data for statins and reduction in cardiovascular disease is just so massive that even when you get 1 or 2 outspoken doctors who may say, well, I don't think it is good for you, the data on the other side of that is just so enormous now, you just can't argue it.
Yeah.
And you may say, well, 1 patient in a million may not benefit or whatever, but actually it's just good stuff. And if you can decrease your chance of dying early for no side effects or minimal side effects, why?
Yeah, completely.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of hormone profile, you're really good. You've got a total testosterone of 28 nanomoles per litre, which is high.
Right.
So, well, not high, but it's really healthy. So normal, fit, healthy adult, 15 to 30.
Right.
Normally by the time you're hitting 30, your levels drop by about 1% a year. So by the time you're in your mid 40s, I expect high teens, early 20s at a push. Yeah. But it's, I don't know, great balls.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Thanks, man.
So, really good testicles.
Love
So they are producing a good amount of testosterone.
Do you know, I had an incident with my testicles the other day.
I knew there'd be something out of this.
Well, this is why I went to the doctor. So I basically sort of had a lump and kind of went there, and he said, oh, it's just a cyst. But, you should probably get it checked out because there might be a steroid cream, or, they sometimes cut it out, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. So I went to see this guy a week later, and told him the situation, got my nuts out, and couldn't find it. Wasn't there. And it looked like I just walked in off the street to show a man my balls. And I was, and you're just like, I was literally like hunting for this lump, and I couldn't find it. And I said, oh, do you want to try? And then he's trying to find it, and it wasn't there. And apparently he said this can happen. Sometimes they go down. Fuck, it was funny. Just walking out, just rang my wife. I was just like, good God. Like, it's such a weird situation being like that you want to find a lump.
Yeah, to justify it. Like, I'm just not here for
I'm not
kids.
weird, mate. I'm not weird. Oh, it was just kind of one of those, it felt like a real Curb Your Enthusiasm moment.
Is he going there again? We've got another one.
Yeah, right. It was, oh man. And it cost me money.
Well, I mean, you should be paying for that.
Yeah, of course I should pay, but I probably could have, I could have paid a bloke a lot less money in Soho to film the balls. Do you know what I mean?
So just slightly more back to professional, just for a second, yeah. So the interesting thing about your hormone profile is you did have a high what's called sex hormone binding globulin.
Right.
So This is the protein that sticks to your testosterone and tells you how much you can actually use.
Right.
So in a fit, healthy adult, you've got about 97% of your testosterone is stuck to other proteins, mainly this SHBG, and that gives you your free testosterone and how much is available to use. And obviously, if that number gets too squeezed, then your ability to use the testosterone you've got goes down, and you still have low testosterone picture. Now, yours is not that low because your total's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that your binding protein is also at a level of 68. Normal cutoff is like 17 to 65-ish.
Right.
And it's right above that top. It's not going to cause you any harm. But then the question is, are you doing something in your life that's actually making your SHBG higher than it needs to be, and you're not getting the most out of what your balls could do?
Right.
So it might be, for example, fasting can do it, potentially. If you have a low body weight, if you're really super fit, if you're just getting older, that can do it. And if you're restricted in certain parts of your diet, so there's lots of different subtle lifestyle things you can do.
Right.
And some of the time, we just don't know why. But we certainly see it in athletes more.
Right.
People that are really physically fit often have a high SHBG.
Right, and it should be lower.
It doesn't have to be, because your total is so good.
Yeah.
This might just be your body's way of going, you know what, he doesn't need that much. We don't need him that horny all the time.
Yeah.
We'll just put him in a normal level.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it might be that if you did your lifestyle slightly differently, you might be able to just get it down a little bit, and you might get even more out of what you're already doing. I mean, we're really talking like optimal little extra percentages rather than anything disease-based.
Okay, right, interesting.
But it's quite good. It's not a bad set of results. We do your prostate screen. That's all normal. You don't need to have a rectal exam anymore. We don't do those.
Cool.
Unless you're paying that guy again for someone else. And all of your vitamin levels are good as well. B12, folic acid, your vitamin D. All of your vitamin levels are great as well. So take home really is that you're inherently a healthy bloke. Was there anything that surprised you from the results, do you think?
What that you've just told me?
Yeah,
not really.
It's not going to be cholesterol now.
Yeah, the cholesterol I'd sort of known about, but I did find it surprising when I found out, because I was like, God, I feel pretty fit. So that shocked me a bit. But that hormone thing is interesting, because I do feel kind of, I feel tired, but in life. But I think that's just because I've got a 2-year-old, and I oddly I'd seen this thing about kind of that you could increase your testosterone if you needed it, but clearly I don't need to.
You can increase it if it's low.
Yeah.
If it's normal, you can do things to try and optimize it.
Yeah.
But you can't really.
What could you do then to reduce the other thing?
Let me phrase it differently. So in a day on tour, what would your daily routine be?
I kind of would, I'd eat when I'm not touring, I would be with my son and I'd be hanging out with him, and I'd probably eat at 12, go down the park, go to the woods, take him swimming, go to baby college, these kind of things. And then we eat at 5, and then might have a bit of cereal at 8 o'clock if it takes me a while to put in the bed, and sometimes not. And I drink kind of coffee and stuff, like a lot of coffee that I've now switched to green tea. But I'd say those are my kind of, and I find it very difficult to exercise when I'm in kind of dad mode. So I kind of, Monday to Wednesday, my wife works, and my son's in childcare. So those are kind of my go down the gym days, or kind of my writing days.
And in terms of sleep?
Sleep's pretty good. Like when I'm not touring, like honestly, as soon as we've got my son asleep, then me and my wife are kind of in bed watching telly and probably asleep by 10. So probably sleep 10 till whenever he wakes up at like 7. So like it's pretty good, and much better since I've stopped drinking. Yeah, so I used to have really bad insomnia, and I'd stay up kind of watching TV in bed. Kind of really don't do that anymore.
Do you get woken in the night?
By my son, yes. I used to have, it was really bad, but it's kind of stopped. And I think just because it's almost like my body knows it needs to sleep because my son's going to get up. So it's kind of like, I can't be indulgent and just kind of, I'll just watch a film at 1 a.m, which I kind of used to do. And, so I sleep really well. Yeah.
And then in terms of general stress, would you say you're pretty chilled as a guy?
Yeah, pretty. Like I kind of have, I have moments of like super kind of high stress, but I'm probably used to it. And I've often thought about that because doing stand-up, you quite literally in fight or flight when you're gigging. So you kind of, if there's 2,000 people in a room, like much as I love it, there's probably part of me that is like, but it doesn't feel as visible as it used to. But it definitely was for 28 years. There's definitely that, right, you need to perform. You need to hit certain targets. So I feel very kind of, I put pressure on myself, but I feel like I can handle it, as it were. And I like the job I do. So it's kind of fun. It just feels, I guess, how footballers feel when they're playing football games, that some games are bigger than others, and some games, even though there's 2,000 there, you might go, it's fine, because it's I'm doing a gig in Derby and it'll be fine. Yeah, but like, right, I'm doing the O2. Come on, let's make sure we're good.
How do you? This is slightly off topic then, but how do you, when you're not gigging, because the high must be insane to have thousands of people, adulation, like laughing at you, and you're the center. How do you then go back to like, I'm just going to?
It's quite, but also it's a lot easier now because I'm kind of married and I have a son, and I really want to be at home. But there's definitely periods. It's why loads of comics go off the rails, because it is quite hard to kind of sit and watch telly after you've been a perfect version of yourself, telling jokes and people laughing, and then you kind of sat there and you definitely have, like, at the end of every TV series, my friend Steve that used to write on the show with me used to send that picture of Lieutenant Dan with confetti on his hair at New Year's Eve. And it's sort of like you're willing the 12 weeks of the TV show to end because it's so hard. Yeah. And then as soon as it ends, you're like, oh God, what do we do? So it's, I think it's just that. And then you start enjoying being at home, and then you don't want to go on tour, and it's kind of, I don't know, I'm clearly a bit restless. I think most comics are,
Yeah, I guess it's something in you, I don't know. The reason I ask that is, so chronic stress can reduce your testosterone or could raise your SHBG, but also thinking about metabolic things potentially, because when your liver enzymes is a little bit high, probably metabolic related to the cholesterol. Could that also be the thing that's pushing the SHBG up because that's related to your liver? So then you're just trying to think of those other things in your life that could be changed, that could improve your overall health, that might put that down. But you're eating well, you're doing enough exercise, you're not constantly on tour all the time. So there's probably nothing major that you're going to go, if you just did one little thing, then that'd be fine. So I don't know. I think probably from your side, it's the mental drive of how do you go from thousands in the O2 to enjoying the rest of your career, rather than, is there something I can palpably do to get a few more millimoles on my testosterone that I'll be freaking out about?
Yeah.
Really, right. I think.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like tour-wise, everything is well planned now, isn't it? You're not jumping around on stage like it used to be.
Regimented.
And do you have a fixed thing you do just before you go on stage? Is it like a routine?
Just write a few notes down and
stuff some blueberries.
Have some blueberries and kind of just have a laugh, really. And I really enjoy my tour manager's company and my support act, and we just
it sounds so sensible.
Yeah, well, it's like, I tell you what makes it so different. Like, my brother might come, my wife will come, or mates of mine will come. My friend Al came the other day, and it's just having a laugh around it so that it isn't. And then you have people in the audience as well as the actual audience that you want to impress, and it's just fun. So it's the main thing is to not put pressure on yourself and just enjoy it.
Do you think then that there are psychological things that stand-ups have to have that will make them differ from other people out there?
I think you have to have you have to have an insane drive to want to do that, and you have to have you have to have thick skin, because every comic has had gigs that are so bad where it's deeply embarrassing for everyone in the room to stare, and you have to walk through that audience and feel that like real like Cersei level shame.
And you've had that.
Absolutely, yeah. And every comic has. But it's interesting when it happens, you just go, oh God, that can never happen again. So I've got to get better to ensure that there is never that feeling of like, oh my God, I've got to quit. And I think that's probably what separates a lot of comics to kind of open spots. The first time you encounter that feeling, most people would run away. Whereas I guess the psychological difference for a comedian is that you'd be like, oh, that was awful. I need to ensure that I get better so that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Because also on the flip side, that the euphoria that you feel when you're in that kind of flow state and you're being the funniest you can be, it's so exhilarating. And you feel like you're orchestrating humans, and that laughter, that they are literally, and you're creating this beautiful moment. It feels so transcendental. It's great.
I know we touched on the beginning, but then you get the reviews after, and the positive ones must make you feel better.
Yeah.
You know, I like to know if patient feedback they're not dead.
Yeah.
It's always a positive. When they are dead and you get the negative review, I mean, they don't write it, but you still get pretty cut up with these sort of things. I don't know how you...
I don't know. But
how do you get past that?
It doesn't really, like, the reviews I get now are kind of, they're normally good or really good, and they occasionally there's always a bit of a niggle, but it's kind of just, I've been doing stand-up for 28 years, and things, certain trends are in vogue and then they're not, and I haven't really changed. I just kind of, I'm very lucky that the audience are my, that's the most important thing. And if you kind of get a standing ovation and they've been laughing at you for an hour and a half, it's fine. But then somebody can sit in the room and go, it didn't work for me, and think, okay, but it worked for everyone else, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But it does take years to kind of, and age for you to kind of see that that's going to happen. And then you'll get other shows where you sometimes get a 5-star review and the show wasn't as good. You're like, fucking weird, man. That, I remember doing years ago, this is probably about 2012. I did the Cardiff Arena, and I had this story about, I met a young boy who had cancer, and he wanted me to go to his funeral. It was unbelievably heavy. It was really sad, and he was at a hospice. It was just an incredible place and a deeply sad place. And I kind of went to see him, and he told me like his favorite sketch was a sketch that I'd done on telly called Mr. Dildo, and I wasn't aware of that seminal piece of work. But it turns out, like, this kid was 14, and it was like the idea of, I think I was a children's character, and I was wearing this kind of cock costume, and he really enjoyed it, and he basically wanted me to go to his funeral dressed as Mr. Dildo. And so I said, of course, you're not going to say to a dying child, absolutely not. So I kind of planned it and going, fuck it, and planned the route as well, because you don't want to get pulled over.
No.
And like, amazingly, and he was in a hospice, he kind of survived. And I got him to come on stage at the end wearing the cock costume, and the place went fucking crazy. It was like, those moments on Britain's Got Talent when somebody does something amazing and the crowd like, wow, I didn't know that could happen. It was such a beautiful, cosmic yes. The place went ballistic. It was brilliant. And I got a review that night, and they didn't mention that story. And they said, and yet there was a paragraph given over to, why is he still doing jokes about Take Me Out? And you're like, wow. That's the one review I was going, but again, it typified my certainty that nobody was walking out of that room. There was like 5,000 people. None of them were like, oh God, you spoke about Take Me Out for a minute. Nobody was upset about that, except for one person out of 5,000, because everyone else was going, holy shit. I thought that was just a story, and then it was true, and then the boy was there, and You know, and it was great and funny. It was really funny and wholesome and sweet and wonderful and euphoric. And it wasn't mentioned in the review. But you know, when I was going, oh, we got reviewed that night. Great. Fuck.
Take me out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good because that story could have been really depressing, actually. But
this is it. Yeah.
A mate of mine told him that how do you coming on here? And his first response was, I'll quote him. He went, "Oh, don't fuck it up." He did the one with Bartlett, and that wanker made him cry.
He did. He got me.
What?
Yeah.
He made you cry.
Well, you could have made me cry if you
I didn't want to do that.
No, but I was in the middle of doing my TV show, and I was, I think it was like week 8 of 12, and I was emotionally drained because I didn't have days off when I used to do it. And we started talking about my granddad, and my granddad had just died, and it just, got me.
That was.
It's okay to cry. It's fine. Every so often you got to let. I don't cry at all. So when it happens, I don't really have. I don't know. It sounds weird, but it's kind of proof that I'm still human. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I have times where I feel quite robotic, but when you're sad, you go, "Oh, I've still got feelings." Good, because as a comic, you write, sometimes awful, mean jokes, and then you try them out in front of an audience, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And you're like, "Oh no, I just thought it was really funny." What's wrong with you? Because all my friends are comedians, so I'll say it to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's great, it's funny, yeah." And then you realise, oh, none of us have got feelings. So if your granddad dies and it makes you upset, you're like, "Oh, thank God."
Maybe there is some crossover with medics because we're kind of the same in that sense.
Yeah, well, all my wife's friends who are doctors have unbelievably dark senses of humour. So like if you work in the fire service, police, but like when you're on the very kind of edges, I think, you're not going to find like a nurse, they're going to have a dark sense of humour because you're coping with the extremes of life and death.
I agree.
You can't pop on Radio 4 if you're working in A&E. It's got to be something pretty robust.
I think I did.
Did you?
Yeah. At the time.
Jesus, you fucking weirdo.
But anyway.
When was the last time you cried?
I think about 5 years ago. My son had to have his.
It's weird though, isn't it? It's like very seldom.
Last month.
Oh, did you?
My daughter had her appendix out.
Oh.
And the hospital's brilliant and the doctors were awesome. But as a dad, I think you feel very protective.
Yeah.
And as a doctor, I felt I should be able to fix this. And when you give your daughter over to the anaesthetist, you just fall apart. And my son was with me. He's like, "Don't worry, Dad, they're really good."
Oh, wow.
But God, it's awful. I don't like that. I like hiding my emotions and burying them down deep inside.
Yeah, it's funny. But so with my son, you just have those moments of kind of, I had this, he hugged me for the first time, kind of properly. And it was so beautiful. He just gave me a little cuddle. And this voice in my head, I don't know whether this is an innate male thing or a British thing or whatever, but this voice went, "Yeah, enjoy that, because there'll probably be a time when he's older he won't want to hug you." You're like, really? The fuck? And it's you. Just bit like this awful social commentary that a lot of men have, that you don't enjoy it too much because it'll go one day. And you're like, "Thanks, brain. Just saying."
Maybe that's just the 40 plus man.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to keep answering questions from your comments in episodes. So comment below your thoughts on this episode or general health topics you'd love for me to address. I read every single one. So your new tour is called Don't Blame the Algorithm.
It is.
If I was somebody like Mark...
Don't tell the algorithm it's called, not don't blame.
Oh, don't tell.
Yes,
don't tell them. Yeah, that makes more sense. If I was Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or somebody... If you're relating it to social media, what would that message, do you reckon, be to me?
The idea of
I'm neither, by the way.
The show title, I thought it was a catchy name for what stand-up is, which is kind of like a night away from the machines. So it was like this conspiratorial, don't tell the algorithm, we're all in a room together. So there's a couple of bits about phones, but it isn't as, tech heavy as it might suggest.
It's clever. It's witty.
It's kind of like it just evokes what stand-up is, that you kind of, it's so rare now to be in a room and you're experiencing an entertainment and people aren't doing that. But if it just doesn't happen with stand-up. It's great. but you have to concentrate, because if you forget or if you're not there, you'll miss the joke, and then you'll miss the callback later, and and everyone else is laughing, and you're like, oh God, why don't I get it?
Do you ask people to turn their phones off?
No, yeah, people just do it naturally.
That's good.
Yeah, it's kind of, I've been to a couple of gigs where they've got those Yonder pouches. You ever done that?
No, what's that?
They give you it's like a little kind of pouch, and you put your phone in it, and it kind of locks so you can't get to your phone. And they're brilliant and they're very easy to take off as you leave. And what's so great about them is so as soon as you're in the auditorium, you can't check your phone. So you're talking to your friends, or you're talking to strangers, and you're so focused on the event that you're at. It just makes them even better. The only snag with it is you have to put an extra £1 on the ticket fee. So I don't really want to do that, because I don't want to charge people more money than I should. But conceptually, the idea is brilliant, because it's so rare that we have a moment when we're away from our phones, and they're so tempting. They're so tempting. Like, we could have a conversation about going on a holiday to Mexico, and the next day your phone's like, and it just lures you in. It's crazy.
Do you think social media has affected comedy?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of
how.
It's in really positive ways and really negative ways. Same as anything. It's kind of, if you live in England, you can, on your phone, you can look at a comedian in New York and find them funny, and then follow them, and then one day go and see them do a show. That would never have happened when I was a kid. You had to go to HMV, and you kind of, you'd have to find out who you liked, and you'd listen to it, but they were far flung, and that you couldn't get the same level of intimate access that you get from a lot of comics. But on the flip side, it's kind of, there's a big thing with crowd work. We used to call it banter, but it's now called crowd work. So where you talk to the audience, and then you post those clips, and they go crazy. But it's not really stand up. It's a pretty easy trick. You can do it. And it's changed the way that some audiences are, because they feel like they have to bring these stories, or they have to interject. Yeah. And it just takes away from the craft of putting a good stand-up show together.
I mean, there's no way I'd be sitting in the front row at one of your gigs.
Yeah, but I hate that. I hate that feeling that anyone would feel that, because I know what that. Of course, well, we don't want people to be sat there going, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck."
No, I feel that's the rule. You sit in the front so that you want to be the guy that's picked on.
Yeah, but maybe. But again, I don't know.
There's always stuff like, "Oh, what's your name? Oh, you're with your wife. What's your mum?" That kind of thing. And
yeah, but I don't know. I've never really. I love those moments when they occur. They're really magic. So I remember there was a lady in the front row at York who said to me, "My auntie's come in a carrier bag," and I was like, "Well, I'm glad she's enjoying the show." And then she literally brought her ashes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, ironically, in a bag for life.
And then I feel worse about laughing.
Yeah, but it was such a genuine moment where I was like, what the fuck? So it was great. But then the idea of doing
But he's done that, hasn't he? He's done that deliberately, sat on the front. And you're not going to bring your own in a bag.
No, but it was the fact that she really wanted to watch the show. And there was something really sweet about it, and funny and unique and odd. But I think if it happens, great. But I think if you're looking for it, I just find it a bit like, it's not for me. But I really, I like improvising and mucking around. I would rather it stayed in the room rather than did it so that the internet can have it.
Do you think he paid for 2 tickets?
He did pay for 2 tickets. I found that out. Yeah. It was brilliant.
What do you worry about social media having its impact on either men or younger people?
I think it's very interesting that there's very little protection for young people, that they can be. There's a brilliant passage in the Naomi Klein book. I always blank on the name of, but she basically she talks about not really, we don't realize how fortunate we were that when we were kids, we weren't training an algorithm, and there weren't scientists who were being paid by billionaires listening to our fears and desires, and we weren't training an algorithm. We weren't helping them make money. We didn't realize how oblivious we were, and the world was utterly indifferent to us. And I think that's the big change, that you only have to look at vapes. They started off with normal flavors. Now they couldn't be more aimed at kids.
Yeah.
And social media is exactly the same. That there's, people get so upset about, like Tommy Robinson's doing a march, about, because he wants to unite the kingdom. England's not like it used to be. And nobody's marching against the fact that children are just being preyed upon by scientists and billionaires. And it's hard enough as an adult to, look at me, look at like the other day, I was looking on Instagram, and that is it Matt from Busted? He's trying to flog me pills that are going to make me live forever. And I was just like, what has the world come to? Like when I was young, the Ocean Colour scene weren't in my garden going, how's your gut biome? Like, do you know what I mean? I didn't get like, the door was like, oh fuck, it's shed 7 and they want me to get my prostate checked. And I was like, I've never felt an interest to care about what Matt from Busted thinks. And yet I clicked on it and that's it. There will always be a way to hook you in. And I'm an adult of, and I sort of feel like I know who I am. Imagine if you're 11.
So I'm just thinking of shed 70 prostate.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hold on sometimes.
But it's that thing of, it must be so difficult when you're at your most vulnerable and your most hormonal when you're a young person, that you're just the blizzard that you're under, to know how popular you are, how many comments, how many followers, how many likes.
Yeah.
And I think as adults, we're all realizing if you spend your whole life making content, you'll never be content. But if you're a kid, it's so difficult because you feel like you have to make your mark because everyone else is.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend's got 20 followers. I've only got 18. As an adult, you don't give a shit. But if you're young, it must be really difficult. And all we had to do was develop a personality, and they have to develop a brand. And that's really tricky.
Historically, you've always been on the sort of the correct side of history, haven't you? I don't know. I think the way a lot of your comedy stuff is like satirically observational in the correct political genre, if you would put it right. I'm trying to say that it'll be politicians doing stupid things, and it'll be pointed out in a clear but funny way.
Right. Yeah.
Which gives you then a position where people find you funny, but you're still respected in that space as not doing slapstick or something else. People understand that there's the brain behind where the points are coming from.
Right.
I said that in a really bad way.
That's right.
But anyway, point of what I was trying to get at is, do you feel that there's a position for you then to maybe enter that public space and go, don't buy pills off a guy that's in a band or...
but only through jokes. So like that. So I kind of remember talking to Michelle Wolf, who's a brilliant American comic, and that our job is to if you want to make a point, you make it with laughter. So like, for example, saying that you didn't have shed 7 in your garden off in your prostate exam is a funny way of pointing out how the world has changed. And an easy way of going is like, you shouldn't, if you're in a band, you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be selling drugs to young children. And people applaud. It's just very easy to do that. Yeah. And I've no interest in it. But I like noticing something and then trying to make a joke about it. I think that's where I'm kind of drawn to, because, and also you'd have to be insane to go into any kind of public space, because the pressure you're under, it's kind of, I love being a comic because ultimately my job is to write jokes about things, but to try and speak earnestly about stuff must be so fucking hard. Because remember, look at Jamie Oliver, like he dared to make kids healthy. Yeah. And he was like, he had to shut restaurants because people didn't go near his restaurants, and there were people putting sausage rolls through hedges for their kids. Just and because he had the temerity to
that a
go,
thing?
yeah,
Really?
totally. But because he was going, I think kids should be healthy. You bastard, fuck you, Oliver. If I want to put they were like treating their kids like, you know, when you make foie gras, just like ramming it in, and because
literally shoving sausage up.
yeah, and
When you lose you lose a lot of the pastry, you'd have to wrap it up.
no, it was at schools. They were just putting it through like
Through
get
the
it down
gates.
you. Yeah, because he was making school meals healthier.
Yeah.
And there was like footage of like the local news crew were like, you need to get down there because they're putting sausage rolls through the fence. Yeah.
That's comedy gold, isn't it?
Fucking
Really?
right. Yeah.
Thanks to your amazing support, we are really starting to make a huge impact on men's health. Please share this episode so we can keep growing. Thank you. Do you think comedy is good for mental health in general? It's a wide open question.
Yeah, I think so. I think laughter is really important. It's an excellent coping mechanism, and in very difficult times, it gives you a release and somewhere to play. Like comedy is playing and being silly, and you know. Whenever you watch outtakes of Will Ferrell in Eastbound and Down, or some of the outtakes in Derek with that guy when he's in the caravan, like it's just joyous. And why is that? And it's something because the older you get, the more serious we get. So when you see grown-ups being silly, it's so much fun. And you're taken out of your problems for a bit because you're kind of lost in laughter. So, yeah, I think it really helps. Not everyone does it like that. You know, a lot of people want to talk about their feelings and really examine it, but a lot of us just kind of just have a bit of a laugh and crack on. I remember there's a brilliant when they did, I think it's World War II in colour by the guy that did. Billy Elliot, I'm blanking on the name. I think it's like Stephen Daldry or something like that. And it's footage of all these kind of soldiers. And what really struck me in it, there was a conversation where one of the soldiers was saying that their sergeant major, somebody had taken a shit in a hat, and he slipped on the hat and he got shit all over him. And this soldier's like crying and laughing. You go, of course. That must have also been the reality of being in a trench, moments of like, because everything is so awful.
Yeah.
But if one of your mates or your boss slips in a hat full of shit, then that is that you cannot, Hitler can't break that moment. No. He can't break you because you're lost in laughter and you're just even, you know, it's that Viktor Frankl book. It's Man's Search for Meaning, and sometimes it's a purpose is the wider thing, but definitely these little places where you can just stop and relax. It's kind of it's love and touch and laughter and music and food, and it's all those things help your mental health. Just where you realize what it's like to be a human, and laughter is definitely, you feel so human when you're laughing. It's when you're laughing with your mates. Yeah. It's just the best, isn't it? It's a societal orgasm. That's what it feels like. You're like lost in laughter together. Do you know what blows my mind about it? Is, you know, when you're with your mates and you're really laughing, and you're in the pocket, you're both laughing, and you're just gone, and it feels like it's never going to end. Like if you went up to strangers who were laughing and you joined in, it would stop immediately. Isn't that weird? If they were really laughing, you went, gone. Isn't it fucked? Yeah, it fascinates me. And yet we've all been in those moments where you're like, shut up, go away. You're going to fucking hurt me. Ow. You know, strange.
Right, last two questions for you.
Okay.
I just want to know, best and worst show of your life.
Best, I remember I did the Manchester Arena, and I did it in the round, and it was just one of those nights. It was kind of like 18,000. It was just like, it was great. I was on it, and they were an amazing crowd, and it just had this kind of energy. And the worst gig was probably, I remember when I was probably about 19, I did a gig in Eastleigh, and this guy, halfway through, I was doing 20 minutes. He was like, "You trying to fuck my wife?" So what? So like, he goes, "You've been trying to fuck my wife?" I was like, "No," and he like swung at me, and I was like that. And he was like really like, and then he kind of like left, and then I was like, "Oh my God," and nobody did anything. I was like, "Oh, that was pretty weird," and I still had like 7 minutes left to go, so I was like carried on talking. And then this woman left, and I was like, "Who are you?" And she was like, "I'm his wife." So like, why didn't you say something? So it was pretty hectic. Like
I was just expecting like dying on stage, not literally.
I was dying. And I wasn't doing great anyway. And I must have looked like someone that was trying to have sex with his wife, but I wasn't. I'd never met her. I was 19. Wasn't having sex with anyone's wife
At 19.
Yeah.
All right, last question. And this is the same thing we ask every person that comes on.
Okay.
If there was one thing that you could suggest to men that they could do today to improve their quality of life, what would you suggest?
Making sure you go for a walk every day is probably the best thing. I think I really love walking. I'm very fortunate because I get to travel and, but having a coffee and taking the world in is because it's kind of free exercise. And it's amazing how many things you kind of notice. Like for my job, it's perfect. So I love that. I just kind of, having a walk, spending time having a walk with someone you like is a really great day. And it happens, it's very rare. Do you know what I mean? That you'd sort of ring up one of your pals and go, "Do you want to go for a walk?" But has there ever been a situation where it hasn't been great? You go for a stroll with your mate and you end up like chatting about everything and nothing. I love those. I think they're the best. And that's it's great. Kind of exercise.
Yeah.
And you just, you're having a laugh or a chat with your pal. They're great.
Russell, thanks so much for coming.
I really enjoyed that. Thanks, man.
If people want to know where to follow you or where to get tickets for your next tour, where do they go?
My website, which is russellhoward.co.uk.
Amazing. If you enjoyed this episode of Man Alive, you would love this one. Go on, press it. Click now. Press it now.